flies out of her mouth and hits the floor. White maggots that immediately melt and turn to smoke. Dude, your powers suck. I'm glad I don't have your powers. I must take my leave.
Of course.
I just watched a Goers 2 news video for July 8th that laughed so hard at I cast gun, prepare to meet God, thanks to the I definitely got that quote from someone else, but glad I could spread the joy of it. Alright. We've talked to most people, progressed some conversations. Let's see. Let's go back to the star map for this solar system here, and see what we can find. Quick save, because this looks like a ship battle. Oh, we're on this side. I was thinking I was over there for some reason. Scan. Okay.
I'll be your beacon in the darkness.
Ooh. Is that 3 enemies? That's not good. Alright.
Launch the devastating payload! Initiate macro cannon barrage! The destination is known. Let the macro cannons sing their twisted song. Sail upon the seas of void.
Okay.
Commence the symphony of
Alright, one
macro
down.
cannons.
They're gonna eat through your shields? Yeah, they are.
Void Master, if you please.
Torpedo control. Detonate.
Set course.
Our shield is no more. Master your fears.
Master my beers? I can't reach it. Let me see. Restart shields. Restore the start of the flagship's next turn. Torpedoes. Alright, reboot shields.
The esteemed engineers seem lax in their duty.
Unleash our fury.
Oh, nice.
Bloody throne, we
Alright, that hurt. Unholy Amulets 3 and Digi's Pattern Macro Battery. Oh, we leveled up. See, Warp Wave, Floating Materium, Reinforced Shields, new heading. Let's go Warp Wave. New heading. Components. Alright. I can never remember which one's starboard and which one's port, but that will upgrade one of the guns. Add that one to cargo. Repair. Alright. We already looked at that, yeah? Yeah, we did. Alright. Okay, let's scan this world. Do you feel more confident in the ship battles compared to the first run? I've got the difficulty lower. So, the game starts on normal difficulty. Above that is daring. That's what we're playing on now. Last time I played it on hard difficulty. And I'll be honest, in terms of combat, like, with the people, hard was fine. But the ship combat was, like, insane. Especially in the early game when you have so few moves and you're fighting, like, 3 ships. I remember one of the fights, it was, like, 30 minutes of kiting. So, I feel like the ideal difficulty for me, if I were to fumble with the custom settings, would be to play on somewhere between daring to hard mode, but then turn the ship combat down to, like, normal. Because the ship combat is pretty nasty for, the amount of tools that you have available to you. But we're starting to get a couple more now. Like, we just had the ability to do was it swing run
I stand
in that
ready
last
to
one.
serve you and the Imperium, Lord
Eldari. And Eldari torpedoes, too. Oh, boy. Okay.
Engage the lads. Let the macro cannons sing their twisted song.
Dang, not in range of either one. Spin their ship around forcibly.
Our shields fail us.
Muck, you don't want those torpedoes to hit you? I am aware.
Void Master, if you please.
Oh, shoot. I thought I was controlling the torpedoes. Dang it.
Commence the symphony of macro cannons.
He just missed every shot. And my torpedoes did 0 damage to their torpedoes somehow. I don't know how.
Is known.
Alright. Sharper turning.
Engage the macro cannons.
Jesus, it's 3 misses in a row.
Commence torpedo launch.
Restart shields. Four. Oh my god. Actually, no. That did a little bit of damage. Damn, though.
Master, if you please.
Another miss. These things have a really high dodge, or whatever you want to call it.
Drown them in the void.
Another miss.
Let the
Another
macro
miss.
cannons sing their twisted song.
Alright, so these torpedoes are currently... That one's aiming up left. So I want to move down here to make them have to turn really hard.
Set course.
Oh, they still both reached me. God dang it.
Commence for symphony
Miss.
of macro cannons.
One more hit.
God.
Finish.
The hardest thing about that was just miss, 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 miss. Wait, what? Did I not just win? I'm confused. Did I not just destroy the last ship? Them exploding killed you? This is why I told you I hate the ship combat in this. If they were supposed to kill me, I did not see it.
Engage the lads.
Miss. We're off to a great start.
Sail upon the seas of void. Engage the macro.
Oh, wow, he actually killed one really early. Alright.
Launch
See
the
what happens.
devastating payload.
Can't lance it from here.
Set course. Initiate macro cannon barrage.
Miss. Alright, so I threw much better dice rolls this time. RNG. The two ships are taken out on, like, turn 2 this time. But now I just need to not die to the torpedoes.
Void master, if you please.
No one can outmaneuver House Orselio.
That one's significantly different. So Eldari ships have very high, I mean, I guess you could say dodge, evasion. That's what it feels like. Lord Captain, we received a transmission from Foulstone. It was sent by members of the Order of the Hammer, votaries of Saint Cognatius, whose monastery is the only settlement on the planet. Or rather, it used to be. Some time ago, a transport vessel, the Navica, unloaded several thousand refugees from a planet belonging to rogue trader Winterscale. The Order of the Hammer has judged this invasion to be an act of aggression and is asking for your lordship's protection. Hollow Fields. Think mirror image from D&D. They have almost no armor at all and no shields. But you might be shooting at the wrong one. We will not abandon people of faith in distress. Prepare a landing party and my shuttle. I am taking the monastery under my protection. As it pleases your lordship. 11 days after the feast of the passing of Nicomedes Kephi, the champion of faith, disquietude marred the calm of the monastery of the Order of the Hammer. Countless tortured souls steeped in fear arrived on Foulstone in a star barque. Bark? A great apostasy had befallen their home and turned them into abject wanderers seeking help and refuge. Their wicked and cruel captain, the owner of the Navica, had betrayed them. Once the unknowing souls in his care had made landfall on the world's surface, he most deviously recalled his shuttles and left, thus ridding himself of his duty to care for the unfortunate lot. Not knowing how they would survive in Foulstone's grim wastelands, the Forsaken people came to the monastery of St. Cognatius, where they surrounded its walls. They hammered their fists on its gate, implored and wailed, "Take us in, protect us," and what once was a place of serenity and grace is now full of din, disorder, and all manner of things despicable. The interlopers brought with them worldly futility and strife, and mayhap also the seeds of alluring blasphemies, if fiendly heathens lurked in their midst. After a prayer, the prelate Hectarchius turned his eye to the past in search of instruction. Prelate Hectarchius recalled the first missionaries to set foot on Foulstone's vast wasteland, led by their zeal for serving St. Cognatius. And those missionaries had received the blessing of Nicomedes Kephi, the champion of faith, who had traveled with them in their starbark to found this place a humble and pure abode wherein to cultivate wisdom and piety. And St. Cognatius, a man of great endeavors, a warrior and a wise artificer, never cowered behind the walls of a librarium, but stepped bravely into the darkness, carrying light in the palm of his hand, and he commanded others to do the same. And not only Foulstone, but many other worlds of the Coronis expanse bear its imprint. Prelate Hectarchius did welcome the interlopers warmly as his guests, but he did warn his brethren to keep their vigilance. The brethren and sisters of the Order of the Hammer came forth to meet the strangers, carrying water and protein victuals and medicinal herbs and jugs of promethium. But the crowd came to blows over viands, and blood was spilt, and many were trampled or mauled in the stampede, some of them dwellers of the monastery. Then the warriors of the Order of the Hammer donned their flak cowls, inscribed words of praise to the God Emperor on their tactical visors, and went forth ready to render service in battle. With las guns and bolters they pierced the interlopers, and their chainswords and power flails they struck them, and a great and bloody harvest was reaped that day. But the interlopers too, scant though their armament was, and scanter their skill in battle, slew many among the monastery's dwellers, for great were their numbers and greater their desperation. The monks fled beyond their walls, and rang the vox alarum, and shut the gate, and commanded the armed guards to keep watch over that gate, slaying any who approached. A quarrel broke out. The hungry and the sick lay siege to the monastery, begging for help. In their spite, they blocked the water collector and unpowered the generatorium. The faithful, in the meantime, made ready to resist. And a miracle came to pass. The God Emperor sent his champion, his confidant, his right hand. Dogmatic. Oh my god. I said we were going to try dogmatic. Commanded his formidable boarding force to fall upon the interlopers and slay as many as could be slain. And there was a great battle, and the accursed miscreants lost their lives in great numbers. The rest fled swiftly to the wasteland, there to hide in fear. And Prelate Hectarchius sent a vox transmission to the rogue trader, beseeching, "Destroy us not, but extend a hand of protection over us, for these wicked people will return to exact their vengeance." The most exalted rogue trader gazed over Foulstone's expanses and quoth, "Now 'tis mine." And the faithful rejoiced. Henceforth they would have an unwavering and mighty guardian, and they proclaimed it all to hear. Singing hymns of glory, they unsealed the airlocks and opened the abode's gates, for a great endeavor in the glorious name of the rogue trader awaited them. Foulstone was to be led to prosperity and faith to triumph. After a prayer, the architects set to work. In accordance with the saint's teachings and the parameters set forth in the standard template construct, they erected spacious living quarters and sturdy fort walls for the planetary militia, and a spacious auditorium wherein to trade and store goods, and a proud censorum within whose walls clerks and servo bondsmen would maintain order and keep statistical records. And yet, a new righteous way of life came to Foulstone, and the people rejoiced, and all was good. Foulstone! Added world to your expanse. I got a planet. Colony projects, pick one. Dominion of the Hammer. The privilege of becoming Foulstone's patron is a tempting prospect for many. However, with the Rogue Trader's assistance, the Order of the Hammer will retain ultimate authority over the world. And you get a, what was that, two-handed flamethrower? The High Throne. The Lord Captain's Void Ship gains the Emperor's Retribution, plus 5% crit against Chaos enemies. Celestial Protector. Void Ship gains the Shield of Faith feature. The Prow gets a new shield sector. Huh. The Ecclesiarchy lacks a capital in the Cronus Expanse from which to guide the faithful. If Foulstone ascends to the status of a cardinal world, the Adeptus Ministorum will ensure the prosperity of their new planetary stronghold. Heretics will tremble when they hear of the alliance between House von Valancius and the Ecclesiarchy. No one in the entire Cronus Expanse would make a worthier guardian of a sanctuary of faith than the head of House von Valancius. A marvelous basilica will be erected in his honor in the world's capital city. It will be decorated with a grand twin statue of the Emperor and the Rogue Trader. Thousands of parishioners and priests will say his name in their daily prayers and bring him gifts. Let's go for High Throne. And suddenly new things. Alright. Alright, so that is being built. I don't know how long that's gonna take. Okay, next world. And he quoth, yoink. Mine. Plasteel. Sure. What did she say? A place so lifeless. Contemplating it brings me indescribable calm. I will preserve its memory for my meditations. Okay, so I think that's where Janus is. Warp travel! Lord Captain, we have an emergency. We've reached word that there's been a sighting on the lower decks, the Voxmaster's voice breaks, of Lady Theodora. The messages we received are incomplete and vague, little more than yelling and hysterical claims. They are reports of casualties and unrest. The compartment in question has already been sealed off, but I thought you might want to look into what's going on for yourself. The situation's delicate, and what's especially disturbing is there are mentions of Adira Tlass being present at the scene. Alright, this is where Adira died in my last playthrough. I will deal with it personally. I need the exact location. Right away, Lord Captain. Alright, I know if Argenta goes, she'll want to shoot Adira in the face. Source experience. I have no idea what these three will do. I'm sure he's not going to like it. I have no idea what those two are going to do. So let's do this. Argenta is a big fan of shooting Adira in the face, Jess. That's one of her favorite pastimes. Hey, everyone, enjoy 40k again. Yeah, Cal, what's up? For sure. Let's see,
One step at a time.
The breath of the Immaterium. I feel the same thing whenever your resident witch is around. We are close.
The cogitators regularly
I too feel something drawing near, but I do not see any colors. The whole world drained of color the moment we set foot on this deck.
The cogitators regularly display reports on the screens, endless chains of symbols, many of which only high-ranking tech priests can likely understand.
Operation.
The instrument terminal, an important part of the compartment's internal infrastructure, appears to be in working order. And who now deigns to grace us with their presence? Another gaggle of heretics and traitors thirsting to get their due for what they've done. Or is it the leader himself, who has finally grown tired of hiding behind others? Theodora von... Oh, the music. It's like starting to play her tune. Theodora von Valancius is before you, and she looks grotesque. A hole yawns wide in her chest, rusted hooks protrude from beneath her skin, and a lumpen inflamed scar cuts across her throat. The figure flickers as though it is a dropping in and out of reality. She looks at you with the whitish eyes of a corpse and smiles venomously. Rogue traitor, we meet at last. I had grown tired of waiting for you to pay me a visit. Theodora's look is appraising, and her mocking tone turns to one of distaste. Indeed, centuries of selfless toil and effort and everything I left behind has gone to this non-entity. You are not Daman Theodora. Kibla's eyes blaze with fury. The Undying One does not relinquish the souls that come to him. Such is the absolute truth. You are a thief of names. Foolish child, your world is limited to the darkness of the lower decks and the words of your vizier. You know nothing of truth or death. You do not even know the first thing about yourself. Theodora's voice is dripping with venomous condescension. What are you? Theodora's lips curl in a malevolent smile. What, you ask? You dare say that to me, little boy? I'm Theodora von Valancius Massimo of Scaris, rogue trader of the Imperium and commander of this void ship. Alas, my glorious voyage through life has ended in the dullest way possible, by death. A nuisance I staved off as long as I could, but I do not weep for me, boy. I am still keeping an eye on my property, and punishing all those who fail me. Theodora bares her rotten teeth in a snarl, her laughter piercing. Where is Adira? What have you done with her? Me? What have I done with Adira? Theodora laughs mockingly. All I did was turn that little mutt from the fringes into a true servant of the Imperium. I gave her toys. I cleaned up after her antics. I provided her with everything she could ever dream of. Oh, I had great plans for little Adira. You are not Theodora. Theodora's dead. There's no coming back from that. I'm dead? How is that? I'm no different from those who have not yet crossed the divide between reality and eternity. I see, I speak, I remember the wrongs you all committed against me, and for all those who failed me, I have already begun exacting my retribution. I truly am Theodora, the remnants of herself that she left behind in this world. I am an echo of her memories preserved in the minds of those who cared for her. I am the taste of tears spilt for the unsaid and the undone. I am the terror of she who failed to turn the tide of fate and who refuses to look truth in the face. I am as real as the human passions that bring worlds to ruin. If you are Theodora, then tell me, who really killed you? Oh, wouldn't you like to know the answer to that question? I don't even know which would be more satisfying, to give you an honest answer or leave you to languish in your ignorance. We'll see how you conduct yourself, little boy. What do you want with me? Why were you waiting for me? Theodora wearily rolls her eyes. Matters are so dire that the pleas of one of my servants breached death's veil to reach my ears. How could I ignore such a desperate cry for help, and from my little Adira, no less? And, once I appeared here, of course I had to meet the pretender who has allowed this deplorable state of affairs. I will send you back to the abyss you crawled out of. You! Of all people to ever threaten me, you are the most pathetic, boy. All that you possess now is given to you in error. You are unworthy of such a generous gift, and you are incapable of holding on to it. I am here to seek retribution against all who have failed me. My brainless crew, my useless officers, my pathetic servants, who turned their backs on their mistress in her darkest hour. And worst of all, you, my dear heir. You who have undeservedly claimed the warrant and everything else that is mine. I will drag it all to the warp with me, including you.
As it should be.
The lines on the screen look fuzzy, as though the cogitator's readout system or data storage has been damaged. The people's remains have been hideously mutilated. Their flesh seems to have melted at the edges and is thickly coated... Wait, what? In stinking mucus. Let me just take cargo for my own ship. The wall lining is dented as though someone tried to break their way out. Labored, stuttering growls and periodic rattling comes from beneath the casing. I think I get jumped down here or something. A huge shell ready to be loaded into the macro cannon breach. Yeah, chat, for anyone wondering how big the guns are when we're looking at the whole spaceship, this is a bullet. That's how big the guns are outside the ship.
There will be no peace in my wake.
Where is she? I clearly remember her being around here somewhere. Oh, she's right there.